Your little girl is coming with me, Ada. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Bring $500,000 in cash. You really don't want to be late.
Why Charlotte?
They know what you are.
They've taken Charlotte.
We're gonna fix it. Brought some backup.
Curtis.
You've all heard about this war brewing between Mahoney and Mrs. Vine.
Two biggest gangsters in London fighting for the #1 spot.
Only needs a spark and there'll be fireworks.
So if we take down Vine's jewelry store, make it look like it was Mahoney.
They'll be busy fighting a war.
All right, guys. Firstly, congratulations on the film. It's nice to speak with you today. I want to give a big shout out to the whole completion process of making a film. I imagine every time you make a film, there's that special feeling that it feels like it's the first time all over again. Before you move on to the next film, could you talk a bit about how it feels to even finish a film?
James?
Yeah, I can do that. It's a kind of euphoria, Zach, because it takes the shooting part of the movie is actually very small in the scheme of the whole process. For example, the writer on this movie actually wrote the movie, I think, about 8 years ago, and it took him maybe 7 years to get it to a place where people were kind of willing to put money in it and read it, and attach stars like Lewis and Kate and the rest of the cast. So then once that happens, you really you shoot the movie for kind of 5 weeks, and then you spend another kind of 5-6 months in a dark room, worrying about all the decisions you made and trying to improve them still and make an even better movie out of everything. And then you just have this kind of euphoric come down where you're like, oh, what am I going to do with my life now? And then you have the anticipation and the wait for people to watch it, and then they review it, and then they loved it or they hated it or whatever, and then you're like, oh, now I've actually got time to think about what I should do next. So it's a
Zach, that's just the director's point of view. For me, it's quite easy, man. I just roll up in, I just kick some heads, and then I fuck off, and then they invite me to the premiere. That's what happens to me.
Amazing.
No, I'm joking.
That's a
Sort of.
We should swap. We could swap
We can swap anytime, man. Let's do it.
Would you like to direct, Lewis?
Oh, hell yeah. That's coming in the future for sure. Yeah, I've been planning on doing that. And at the right time, I got a few things in the barrel being prepared. And when it's the right time, I'm gonna pull the trigger and show people what I can do. And then I'll be calling James saying, James, I know what you mean. Help me.
No, you can call me for an acting role, please.
Yeah, no, I will do that. By the way,
And then
he has an acting role in this movie. I don't know if you saw it, Zach. There's a cameo in this movie where a very intimidating man drives me to a big action sequence in a taxi cab. That's
Oh, yes, yeah.
you would never know it, but there he is.
So I guess to talk about the film, especially obviously the premise of the film is a heist that kind of goes wrong in a way. So I guess to start off with, how would a British heist compare to an American heist?
Ooh, good question.
Well, I think probably Lewis has done. Have you done an American heist movie, Lewis?
No, not really. No, I haven't stolen diamonds or anything. I've stolen cars. What's the difference, James? I guess British people are more polite.
Well, technically, guys, I'm not a criminal, so I can't be specific over. But I imagine. I tell you one big thing that's kind of in America, they have firearms quite open and quite willingly, whereas in the UK we tend to only really be a special unit of the police that have firearms, or kind of naughty, gangstery types. So I imagine in America, if I was to make an American heist movie, there'd probably be a few more bullets flying around.
Yeah, and there's more places to park in America, so you can really kind of have a good getaway. But as you see in the movie in England, the parking enforcer, which is such a great thing to add to a heist film, is a parking guy knocking on the getaway car. I love that scene so much. But that would happen in England.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, especially now because I am based in London, and I feel like for me, like I can drive, but I feel like driving is pointless nowadays because
Yeah.
when I get to work in Central every day, I just need the tube, and especially when parking is so expensive, it just feels kind of impractical. I
Yeah,
don't know.
James, why didn't we just take the tube?
I feel you, Zach. I live in London as well, and let's not make this about traffic, but it's got a hell of a lot worse in the last 15 years.
Yeah, but James, why didn't we
Definitely.
just take the tube after the heist?
Well, do you know what? The tube after the heist is a great idea, and I can t to get specific on you, because I've got another movie which is completely set on the underground, and shooting on the London Underground is actually very expensive, would you believe? So that is probably why we didn't do the heist on the underground.
Maybe if you're on the Elizabeth line, but you got to go to one of the lesser known lines.
Yeah, true. Um,
I heard the Central line is kind of fading nowadays because of the Elizabeth line.
Yeah.
That's an interesting discovery to me. But you know, speaking about the tube, it reminded me of, Skyfall when the tube kind of crashed out.
Oh yeah.
great scene.
That's something I guess you could have some inspiration for your future films. But there's one line that really struck me towards the beginning of the film between Ada and Roman's, I guess, kind of interactions in the past, as our work is who we are, and obviously Ada is kind of contesting, saying it's what we do. So I guess how do you interpret that kind of interaction and why they have that contrasting ideology despite being I guess, a couple in that time?
Do you want to take this one, Lewis? Or
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think at least for me personally, it's one of those moments in their, I mean, they were working special forces. That type of lifestyle is not conducive to having a family, for many reasons, for just obvious reasons, because your life is on the line every day, and these guys really putting themselves out there and risking everything for what reason, and it seems to me, and I watched a lot of podcasts and interviews with soldiers, and at the time that they're doing the deployment, they can only focus on the mission and accomplishing the mission and stay and surviving really. And then later on, after hopefully they survive and they come back home, then they say, well, it's all about family. And I'm sure it is, but you can't be thinking about that in the moment because the things that these guys have to do takes a lot of focus and you can only think about the mission and how to get the mission done. So that's kind of where Roman is at in his mind at the time. Like, look, we are not built for this. We're different type of humans. We're built for this. And so this is who we are. We can't change these things. Um, and I think that that's kind of where he was at in that time of it in his life. Not ready for a relationship, not ready for a family, can't even wants one, but doesn't even have the emotional availability to do that. Which I quite understand. There's different moments in people's lives where you're not accessible at that time, and maybe you will be a few years later on with some growth and with some maturity. So that's what it meant to me.
So to bring James into this, I want to extend that to yourselves as an artist. How do you approach that? Do you that kind of identification, like is what you do as an actor, as a director, making films? Is it who you are, or is it just what you do?
oh wow, um, wow, this is deep, Zach. Um, it is it is who I am, and it is what I do, which is to convolute. It's to convolute the quote
Are
itself.
you stealing from Tom Cruise's honorary Oscar speech right now, James?
Do you know what? I don't know how to do anything else anymore because I'm 40 years old now, and I started running on my first film set when I was 15, which is 25 years ago. And then I directed my first movie when I was 25, which is 15 years ago.
I'm
And
25 years old right now.
I've obviously made a series of very lucky choices in my life, and been in very fortunate positions with friends and stuff to continue to do what I absolutely love doing. That, but there is a similarity to filmmaking and perhaps those specific lines in the script. And I'm not trying to compare filmmakers to military in any regard, because the military are saving lives and are doing a much more heroic job than we are, where we're just, we're making entertainment for people to enjoy after they've had a long day or a long week and they want some escapism, and they need to unwind and get recharged on a different kind of emotional level.
There are some similarities, though, certainly, for sure.
Yeah,
As
but
far as when, you're in pre-production, you're building a battle plan, then you have, let's say, 3 to 6 weeks to execute this plan. Everybody's on walkie-talkies, making sure everything's perfect, and then boom, the mission's done, the film is over, and now it's one of those things where you do feel like sometimes, and like James is saying, obviously, it's very different in realistic terms, but like the way that you set it and plan it and meet these people that you've never met before, and you accomplish this quick mission, it does feel like that, right?
Totally. And then you actually have you have the physical side of doing it like a mission, as you say, but then you equally do have to make sacrifice with family and relationships, and kind of the themes in the movie, like being with someone you love, but you have to throw a lot of your time to something else because it's all you know how to do, or it's what you're addicted to doing, and having children and giving time and love and space to those things, and not want to feel like you're not being a good dad or whatever. So, yeah, there are lots of similarities in the script to the filmmaking. It's quite an astute.
That's a deep ass question, because I wouldn't feel like myself if I didn't do this. And
Mm.
so it's equally both of those things, and I don't want to define myself by the work, but I wouldn't feel like myself if I wasn't able to make films.
Mm.
Mm. And just to end off like a two-part question, to bring Kate into this as well. Of course, she speaks a bit of Russian in the film, and from your background, you bring in your stance and your martial arts. As actors, do you thrive, or how much do you enjoy incorporating your own kind of personal skill set, something that you learned in your own life, into the art that you're making? And I guess to end off, I am aware that this film, in particular, is Kate's mom's last set that she visited before she recently passed. Is there any fond memories that you're willing to share that I would love to hear about it? I'm sure it's a special experience.
Yeah, she
Yes,
came to set, didn't she, James, a few times?
yeah. Judy came to set to see us and meet the gang, and she was lovely and welcomed with open arms, and sat beside me with her own headset on and watched Kate, um, act and perform and do a scene with the guys, and yes, very. We were very lucky to meet her and be part of that. Story for Kate and her mum, and very very sad, obviously, for Kate to and stressful as well to to do a movie so in depth and exhausting, and also be caring and loving and available for her mum, which she very much was. So yeah, we feel very blessed to have been part of that story.
Yeah, I mean, Kate was really going through it emotionally, there, and then she would show up on set and just perform, and it was like kind of insanely mesmerizing and inspiring because, yeah, she was dealing with a lot, and then coming on set and being a professional. So my hats off to her, and my condolences to their family for sure. But she was good fun too. You could see where Kate got her sense of humor from as well.
Totally, yeah, very similar, very cheeky.
Yeah.
Props to the both of you. I mean, I can imagine it's a special film. I can sense it from the screen itself. And of course, the first part of the question about how you bring in your own skills, incorporating it
Yeah.
into your acting career and storytelling. Could you briefly talk about that and you can just wrap up there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, especially nowadays in this time period that we're in where you can AI anything and you can make, let's say this guy fights 100 people and he's in the middle of the desert and helicopters are crashing and then, aliens come down and then the whole thing burns to the ground and then in 5 seconds later you have a clip of that. Whereas when you genuinely have an artist who's performing, whether it's martial arts or whether it's dance or whether it's, Tom Cruise flying helicopters and jets and this and that, it's real and it's visceral and the emotion is transferred into the screen. That's what we're trying to capture. That's what the whole point of filmmaking is, capturing these artists, telling these stories. And I just feel like it's not only much more impactful, but it changes everything. It changes everything. It's like hearing an orchestra live, or hearing an orchestra on someone's cell phone sitting 50 feet away from you. It's there, but it doesn't hit you the same. So I'm trying to bring that and keep that art form alive as long as I can, and I know James is too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I second everything you said. Um, making the films with real people doing their real skills is really electric thing to watch as well. And you get such a buzz, as soon as Lewis has got some pretty long take fights in the movie, and as you see him get through that choreography, and you see the energy building, and he's doing it, he's the one doing it, he's spinning it, but I'm sitting by the screen, just like getting closer and closer to the screen, like he's gonna do it, he's gonna finish, he's gonna get all the way through it, and then he does, and I'm like, oh, and I feel like I've been on the roller coaster, and I think some of that energy. I think that's the reason I particularly do like long take stuff and long take fights and stuff, is because seeing them get through it just adds this level of stress and tension and enjoyment. And then you can kind of go, and then the kind of release is so much more pure and breathtaking because of what you've just endured. So, yeah, I'm a big advocate for that. And, Lewis is very skilled and able to perform in that way.
Let's continue making those films, James.
Definitely manifesting it. Thanks so much for both of your time, and I would love to entertain these conversations over and over, especially, and thanks for entertaining my deeper question. But once again, congratulations on the
Yeah,
film.
Zach, great questions,
Hope
man.
the I hope the release goes well, and I look forward to your next projects, and I look forward to more to come back to you as well. Take
Thank you,
care,
brother.
both of you guys.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
Zach.